Hi, my name is Sherrill Mosey, and I am the creator of Startup by Faith. I started my business a few years ago, and it was all about saying yes to stepping out on faith to starting my business. And so I created this series of discussions with other women entrepreneurs because I wanted to understand what brought them to their yes, what made them step out on faith to start their business. And I also wanted to understand their challenges. So this is what Startup by Faith is all about, and I hope you enjoy the series. Hi, this is Sherrill Mosey with Startup by Faith. And Startup by Faith is about women entrepreneurs who've really taken the leap to start their businesses. They've overcome their fears and doubts, and they believe in themselves and their ability to start their business. And today, I am with Bethany Edwards and Anna Simpson, and they are co-founders of Lia Diagnostics. And thank you, ladies, so much for coming. I'm excited that you're here. Lia Diagnostics, I want you to tell me a little bit about Lia first, and then we'll get right into it.
Sure. So Lia Diagnostics, our first product is Lia, which is the first FDA-cleared flushable biodegradable at-home pregnancy test. And it's really providing women with the privacy value as well as an environmentally friendly solution. We are over 99% accurate, 0% plastic, and 100% your business.
Okay. So you said a lot there. So before we
You can
dig
cut it
right,
up.
yeah. So no, before we dig right in, I want to know about Anna and Bethany. So I've read one of you actually grew up in a underground house.
Yes, that's me.
Okay. All right. So before we get to Lia and the product, let's talk a little bit about you because I want to kind of build up. How did you actually get to where you were? So tell me about growing up. Where did you grow up? And tell me about this underground house.
Yeah, sure. I grew up in rural PA, so kind of close to State College and Penn State University. My father was a farmer. He grew up on a farm and then was a civil engineer. So he built bridges for a living and designed our house into a countryside hill. So my mom and my dad built it from scratch. He designed it and it was kind of environmentally friendly. So we had grass on our roof. So you could sled ride off of the roof in the wintertime. And I think just that in and of itself, really gave me this sense of ingenuity and in the simple ability to sled ride off of my roof.
Oh my goodness.
Kind of understanding that you can break traditional norms.
Wow. What about you, Bethany? Where did you grow up?
Anna.
Okay.
So I grew up in a small town, also in rural PA, called Lidditz. It's near Lancaster. I was in very much a normal home. Nice brick house with a nice porch, but very, very nice upbringing. Came up in a community that really fostered whatever kids wanted to do. So growing up, I was very deep into both the arts and mathematics and sciences. So it really gave me a good training on how to learn how to make things that are beautiful, but also high performance and using a lot of STEM.
So did you tinker a lot when you were
I
younger?
did tinker a lot when I was younger.
Both of you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
where did you meet?
We met at the University of Pennsylvania in the Integrated Product Design program, but that was many years after
It couldn't
leaving.
have been that long.
Yeah, we're a little
very young.
We both went to Temple for our undergraduate degrees,
Okay.
but not at the same time. So we didn't meet when we were at Temple. After graduating from Temple, I spent about 10 years in advertising and marketing and then went back for my master's at Penn, which was where Anna and I met.
Wow.
Yeah, and I actually, my background's a little non-traditional for this role, but I have a background in design, product development, and model making in the jewelry design industry. So I worked, concept design through prototyping and final product in the jewelry design industry for a couple of years. Always, with a passion for women's products, and realized I needed to make a switch to making products that actually do something for people, but can still be beautiful. And I went to Penn, and that's where Bethany and I met.
Wow. So the product that you've developed, the first biodegradable and flushable pregnancy test. Now, did you guys come up with that idea while you were in school?
Yeah.
Bethany did.
Yeah, so it was part of my thesis project, my final project for the integrated product design program. And it started more from the sustainability side. So, this idea that single use diagnostics are only used for a couple of minutes, but they're made out of plastics and glass fibers and a lot of synthetic materials that can't biodegrade or compost or go back into the earth. And so, this question of these products are only being used for such a short amount of time, but they're far exceeding their life cycle, right? They're ending up in landfills. You're only interacting with them for a few minutes. Is there something that we can do to switch out the materials to make them more sustainable? So the program looks at unmet needs from a human-centered design standpoint. So what's being unmet around how people are interacting with products. So that's one area. And then the other is what's being unmet in the market. So in this case, no one innovating in pregnancy test form factor in over 30 years. There's clearly a market opportunity and a gap there. And then in the kind of other sector is what's happening on the technological advancements. So are there new innovations that you can bring into commercialization of products to help create or solve any of those problems? So it was sustainability for more materials that are more eco-friendly, but then also recognizing that there's a gap in the market, particularly around women's health and reproductive health products, and then also speaking with a lot of women. So, we spent a lot of time doing one-on-one interviews, focus groups, surveys, and listening to women explain what they didn't like about the existing pregnancy test. And one of the biggest things was privacy, like the idea that it involves a wide range of emotions, and women are testing more frequently, potentially at work or on the go, or this idea of having to hide a pregnancy test in the trash is something that we wanted to solve, and be able to solve it with new innovations on the material side that allowed us to solve not only sustainability issues but also privacy issues. And that was really how we got to flushable.
That's awesome. So you said two very important things that I think every person who wants to be an entrepreneur or wants to develop a product should consider before they start. And that is solving a problem,
Yes.
finding something that's solving a problem, and then looking at what's already on the market that, like you said, nothing had changed in
Right.
30 years. And so that was an open opportunity for your product. So that's so important because you want to be able to solve a problem so that there's a need for it. And I've heard you said that you spent a lot of time on research and asking people. So you didn't just jump right into this thing. So I guess the next thing I want to ask is that, a lot of times people want to start a business or develop a product to make money. In this case, I don't see that. It's really about helping people, coming up with something new, innovative, that is useful. But I can imagine there have been a lot of challenges along the way. A lot of challenges. So tell me about some of the challenges that you would consider, oh my gosh, should I be doing this? Can I keep going? What are some of those challenges? So
Yeah, so we began the company full time in 2015, so about 3 years now, and a lot of the challenges were around the development of the product itself, because the way lateral flow diagnostics are made is very ingrained in the industry. Everything's manufactured one way using nitrocellulose test strips with lots of components and injection molded housings. And we had to reinvent everything from scratch and reinvent the manufacturing process itself. So it was a long development process where we had to continually be testing and iterating on not only the functionality of the diagnostic, but also the way it breaks down and biodegrades. So understanding what the balances were between the materials that we were using and the actual lab performance and performance for women using it itself.
So, I mean, that's overwhelming.
Yeah,
right
it was
there,
a long
because
development
I can
process.
imagine the testing part and how many times. it's failing and not doing what you
Mhm.
want it to do. So that is a challenge because it takes a long time to test things.
And
And
and I'll say the other thing that we did was we made sure that we were testing even before we had a diagnostic that was working with the form factor and the materials in the hands of women to make sure that the actual user interaction of it was what women wanted, and making sure that we were going in the direction even before we got to the 99% accurate results that we have now.
so did you use, I guess you used women to test your product along the way.
As long as ourselves.
Along with ourselves, yeah.
So what about manufacturing? Where do you get this manufactured?
Yeah, so I mean, like Anna was saying, one of our biggest challenges has been on the manufacturing side because we're creating a completely new supply chain for at-home diagnostics. We're completely re-engineering the way that these tests are manufactured. But I will say, I mean, a lot of that is applied, right? You have to solve those problems by getting in there and just doing the work and doing a lot of prototyping, a lot of iterating, what works, what doesn't work. Anna and I spent a summer, for the better part of one summer, sitting around cutting out different geometric shapes because fluidic flow path is a really important factor in the way that this test works. And so unique shapes that would control fluid differently was one of the things that we had to figure out, as well as how to keep the device closed without using glue. So figuring out ways to deal with pressure and piercing of different fibers so that the product would be able to stay together without using glue. So a lot to figure out on the manufacturing side. We had set up our own small scale manufacturing in our offices here in Philadelphia to do all of the devices for our FDA testing. At this point now, we're moving beyond that and working with a contract manufacturer.
So how many years has it been from the idea to where you are now?
Yeah, so the idea phase and the research work was back in 2014, and then we founded the company officially, as Anna mentioned, in 2015.
Okay, so let's meet Miss Lia. Lia again is the first flushable biodegradable pregnancy test device. And so, let's meet Miss Lia.
So first of all, it comes in a very nondescript, super flat pouch. And this is very
And I
purposeful.
will say, you didn't bring packaging today because there's going to be a big launch in a few months today.
Yes,
So
there is.
yeah, so we get to see this device.
Yeah, but I mean, the packaging is also designed to be kind of fun, discreet, and we can ship it to you in an envelope, right? So we are trying to make sure that there is some discretion in a sustainability aspect, as well as being a little bit fun. So, so the pouches are like this, is super thin, and then this is the device.
So tell us the difference from what's on the market now then.
Yeah, so I don't have any of the other tests with me today, but they are big and bulky, and they are all made out of plastic. You cannot really recycle them. So there's over 2 million pounds of plastic waste attributed to pregnancy tests each year.
In the U.S. alone.
In the U.S. alone.
And that goes around the earth.
Yeah. Yes.
It goes from Philadelphia to the International Space Station and back 7 times.
Oh my God! Just with the plastic.
Yes. Yeah.
Just from pregnancy tests.
Just from pregnancy tests.
From pregnancy
so
tests. I can't imagine water bottles and everything else.
Right. Or even other single-use diagnostics, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of other single-use diagnostics like malaria tests, urinary tract infections.
Right. So let's hold that up again.
Yeah.
Because
this is it. Super thin.
You can tell us about the materials in this and how it.
Yep. Go ahead. You can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So do you mind if I hold it? Everything's made out of cellulose, so the test strip inside is made out of cellulose, and the outer housing, instead of what's usually plastic, is cellulose that's coated with a coating that Bethany and I have developed in-house that repels urine long enough to take the test and read your results, but once you actually throw it in your toilet, it breaks down and disperses in water. Wow. We have a natural film that is also biodegradable and water dispersible instead of a plastic window, so that you can see through and you don't have to worry about when you're peeing on it, getting splashed into the product or anything like that. The product itself,
So it absorbs the pee like when you pee?
it does the same thing as our coating where it repels it, for about 10 minutes and then
Okay.
breaks down. But then the product itself is really only 3 components. It's a test strip inside, the window, and the housing, which is actually one piece that in the manufacturing process gets folded over and pressed together.
Wow. So how, and I don't want to go there, but how would I know if I'm pregnant or not when I look at
Yeah.
that?
So a positive result will be 2 red lines, just the same way pregnancy tests work right now, and a negative result will be just one red line.
That's
Yep.
great. And
Yeah.
I like the fact that you can just flush it because I don't want to put it in the trash and somebody comes behind
right.
me and they
Yeah.
see and then there's a
Yeah.
conversation. So that is so wonderful.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some sanitary benefits as well. Some
Mhm.
women prefer to just kind of keep urine in the toilet, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
as opposed to being in the trash. I mean, one of the things that Anna and I wanted to make sure that we did was create a product that not only had functional benefits, like offering privacy, and also being environmentally friendly, but also was beautiful, right? So I mean, it's got a unique form factor to it. We've given a lot of attention to detail in terms of the way that it looks, and trying to just kind of make pregnancy tests and women's reproductive health and wellness products in general have a little bit more of a design quality to them that are thoughtful. Everything from opening the packaging and the packaging experience to the way that it has curvature to it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very small, convenient. I can kind of get the feel. Let me.
It also
So would you hold it like this? Or
you
how
hold
would
it at the top.
Yep.
at the
And
top?
one
Yeah.
of the nice things about the material change is most pregnancy tests are cold plastic that have a
Right.
very medical feel, and it's an experience for everybody that's really riddled with emotion, no
Yeah.
matter what you want the outcome to be. And so having something that's a little bit more soft and intimate in that experience is helpful as well.
Yeah, it's great. Again,
Oh,
congratulations.
thank you.
Thank
I
you.
understand that you were FDA approved, so this will
We
be on the
are.
market soon.
That is correct. Yep.
This year in
Yep.
2018. So I'm really excited about it. Let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, so meetlia.com is our website, and that gives pretty good information on the product itself, as well as we've got social channels, so at Meetlia on Instagram and on Facebook as well.
Okay, and Lia is Lia.
That is
Yes.
correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you again,
Yeah, of
ladies,
course.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of Startup by Faith, where you believe, build, and